Hey y'all, it's Stancy Vet Esquire.
And this is Ray Daniels, aka the Culture Referee, and welcome to the GAUDs Show. Let's go. And we have a special guest. Like I said, I woke up this morning and I got on my stuff because we're not talking to. You ever seen it? Like, we're not talking to a regular person.
Right.
Like sometimes you're like, we just talking to a guy. Now he's not just some guy.
Yeah.
Step Brothers. Remember Step Brothers? He's like, you got to know. I'm not just some guy, right? We're not just interviewing some guy right now. We're interviewing a legend. So today we're thrilled to welcome a powerhouse in business and an icon in the world of entrepreneurship, Daymond John, known widely as the People's Shark. From the hit show Shark Tank, Daymond's journey from a young entrepreneur with the dream to being a global branding expert and best-selling author has inspired millions. With his groundbreaking brand FUBU and his role as a presidential ambassador for global entrepreneurship, Daymond has reshaped how we think about business, success, hustling, and everything that comes between it. Daymond is a superhero in our community, and we're here to celebrate him and what he's doing next week, 11/22 in Atlanta, Black Entrepreneurs Day. Let's give it up for Daymond John.
Wow. Thank you, man. Those are very kind words. It's hard to just sit here and hear you read that.
It's funny because I can imagine that. Like, it's like, damn, I do all that. Like, I just woke up this morning and had an agenda and went forward. Like, that's what my thing is. But Daymond, the reason why I'm a huge fan of yours is because I believe the biggest thing holding our community back is emotional intelligence. Right?
Emotional intelligence.
Just because emotional intelligence just helps you remove the emotions of it all, where it's like, it's not fair. So when it's not fair, you try to fight the not fair rather than just understanding it's never fair. This is what you got to do to win, right?
Yeah.
And, people feeling like, why can't I, or why can't this? And business is not a why can't. Business is a how to wake up every morning and challenge. And you're one of those guys who, like, to me, Shark Tank is like the premier space for how business is done in America, right?
Yeah.
And you're the guy who is our color, our community's color, and also talks like us, looks like us, acts like us, but is successful in this other world. And to me, I think I contribute a lot of that to your ability to keep your composure in moments when it's like, oh, okay, that's what you are. Okay, I got it. Yeah,
you've been there, huh? Every day.
I couldn't be successful without it because in the music business, people always complain about, like, it's not fair, or it looks like this, or why is this happening? And I'm like, that's not what it's about.
Nah, follow the
machine
money.
is already built.
Follow the money.
FTM. Fuck the ATM. If you don't got access to an ATM, FTM.
Yeah, that's right.
Follow the money. Yeah. So I wanted to ask you, like, where did that business acumen come from?
Well, those are great questions. First of all, thank you for having me, and I like how you positioned it. I think that I'm dyslexic, and a lot of people, I talk about it openly. 8 of the 12 sharks are dyslexic, and that somehow gives us clarity. And I would just be a very simple, as a kid, I was simple, I didn't do well in school. The only thing I did notable in school is I liked the 7th grade so much I took it twice. I didn't have a high level of education, but I was always just analyzing things, saying, well, somebody did that. And I have a great, great mother. And when you think about entrepreneurship, there's no entrepreneur in the world that is a better entrepreneur than a black mother.
Yes.
Especially a single mother.
Yes, a motivated black mother.
Absolutely, because, nothing against the gentleman, in the room and in the world, but we don't risk our life to bring in life. And there's no book that'll show a mother or a father, every step to do when you raise this new human being. So they figure shit out.
Yeah.
And I was with a mother that figured shit out. And I remember I grew up right next to JFK, John F. Kennedy Airport. And at that time, the Concorde used to land. It was, I'm dating myself, but the supersonic jet, it used to shake the neighborhoods. And I remember one day it was landing. I said to my mother, Ma, how do men and women build massive machines like this? And she said, everything you see, Daymond, the car we're in, the buildings, the lights, everything we're driving in, it all started with one person with one idea that took one action. And why can't it be you?
Yeah.
I didn't have an answer for her why it couldn't be me.
How were you at this time? You remember, like, the age
I was
group?
Probably about 9, 10 years
so you
old.
was a little kid. You were like 14, 15.
Yeah.
You was young.
Yeah, and I grew up in the community where, listen, the movie Belly was written about my friends. I grew up with Supreme Team over here trying to induct me. I grew up with all those type of things. And when I grew up and when I came out with the concept of FUBU, it wasn't fly to be a designer at that time.
It
you know
was
what
not.
I mean?
And I want people to know that, because some people hear it, but it wasn't. You guys are the first that ushered in that.
Well, we were inspired by the West Coast Carl and Cross Colors at first, and remember, Cross Colors had popped and then it went away. Carl, we loved Carl, and we definitely inspired by him, and he actually,
for sure,
he helped me a lot coming up and advice. But when my boys, who the DMX who played Belly and all those guys, when they were like, hey, we're gonna go to the city. We got these, we got this stuff in the car, and when I'd be like, nah, I'm cool. And they'd be like, well, what are you gonna do, man? You guys see this strawberry pattern I just picked up from the store, homie? I'm gonna go down to my house. I'm gonna make a couple of shirts. They were like, what?
Yes.
A lot of people stopped talking to us.
Yes.
But it was always simple to me. I said to myself, it can be done, and 65% of Forbes' top wealthiest people in the world, they're self-made men and women. That means they had nothing.
Exactly.
So why can't I be part of that 65%?
I think I want to ask, because you have a book called The Power of Broke.
Yeah.
Which kind of focuses on how it can be advantageous to start with nothing. Can you elaborate on because it sounds like it's part of your upbringing that kind of got you to the book, but you have other stories within the book about other entrepreneurs also starting from nothing.
Yeah, substantial wealth is really, besides as it's passed down and generated through, other financial instruments, most of it is by broke people.
Yeah.
People who make it, But let's look at the flip side. The stats are that 65% of lotto winners and athletes are bankrupt 3 years after winning the lotto or leaving the league, right? Because they didn't understand how to use the tool of money. Nothing against the athletes. It's harder to become a world-class athlete and make millions of dollars than it is to do anything else, but if you're not taught financial intelligence.
Right.
And so our community of African American, we've been bartering and trading since the beginning of time.
Yeah.
We've always been that community who's never gotten on opportunities. They try to incarcerate us, so then once we are incarcerated, even if it's for a week, now all of a sudden we have to fill out on that application for any kind of job or loan or anything else like that. So we are always against the 8 ball, and we don't come from legacy wealth where our grandfather or grandmother, aunt or uncle told us what to do with money.
Exactly.
And so we are the most resilient people that barter and trade. We just don't formalize it because we know we can't get a loan any damn way, right? But we need to make this money right now while we're working 2 and 3 jobs.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't know I'm half Trinidadian. We got to work 7 jobs. You know what I mean?
And you're a child of immigrant.
And West Indian. You know what I mean? Are you kidding me?
Well, I bet those are the most dangerous people, because those kids don't play. They are taught to work, smile, be respectful, everything that you need to be
I'm gonna go out here and open my jacket and sell some Shark Tank shit in the parking lot. But
let's go. I want to be down there with you. I'm down there. Let's
but now let's look at people with money. It's about the mentality of coming up and being hungry about something, because listen, the industrial titans of this country, the Fords, the Kennedys, or really the Roosevelts and the Rockefellers and all those type of people, they've created great things for our country. The parks and various other things. But look at their children. They do great things with their funds and foundations. But why don't they own the Teslas and the Instagrams and the Facebooks? Because the first generation makes it, the second enjoys it, and third destroys it if they don't really understand how to use money. So it's not about money.
Yeah.
It's about grit. It's about working that shit out.
By the way, the reason I want to talk to you so bad is because that's a hard lesson to learn when you young and you black and you from the hood, right? Because it's like, it's already hard, right? So it's like, but you got to choose your hard. Right? You could stay in this hood and you could deal with that stuff, or you can, like I was just talking to my community this morning, screaming at them, like, step outside of your comfort zone. And once you get comfort there, step outside of that, and go. And every time you step, go bigger and bigger, because that's what it's about, growth.
Travel and arts are going to be the best education ever.
Yes, for sure.
You can be inside your world and you can think, what do you think? But travel and arts, but use common sense. Listen, when Supreme Team tried to induct me, I was about 13 or 14 years old, and they were like, yo, you can make about $50,000 a year. Now, this is a lot of money. When I was 14 years old, make about $50,000 a year, I was gonna buy me a baby Benz or a brand new Jetta. You know what I'm saying? I was keeping
that cabriolet. That cabriolet was,
a block punk, and I was gonna keep those rims, those 20s. I was keep them shits clean as shit. You know what I mean? But I said to myself, $50,000 a year. Okay, I'm a pretty simple guy. I get it. You know, $50,000 a year times 10 years. All right. Well, that's $500,000. Wow, that's great. Wait a minute. Most of the guys I know, out of the 10 years, they're probably locked up for 5 years. Oh, that's $250,000. Well, now they got to pay lawyers and all that other shit. Now you're down to about $150,000, and sometimes they're dead. And by the way, you know, if I go to jail, I'm really cute. It's not going to work out the way that I think it's going to be. So I might as well go work at goddamn McDonald's.
Exactly.
If I worked at McDonald's and made $25,000 a year, I'd have $250,000. I'd have medical, I'd have insurance, and maybe I'd become a manager. What the fuck am I going to do with that for? Then?
And you know what I tell people? If you can sell dope, you can sell an album. If you can sell dope, you can sell anything. If you can sell drugs, if you can rob, because that takes effort. People act like it doesn't take effort to like make a plan to do a robbery or do something or set up an operation. Like, you're gonna stand on this corner. That's really operations, right? But instead of selling drugs, you're gonna stand in this corner. You're gonna sell these T-shirts. Matter of fact, let's figure out why they matter. Like, I always tell people, hustling is the same thing no matter what you do. It's just, you got to choose your hustle and the one that you want.
You got to find a customer who needs it. And you know what? Some of the sexiest, some of the biggest paper is made off of things that are not sexy.
Yeah.
You know, you're looking at that can and bottle right there. I don't care what's in that can or bottle, but somebody made the can itself in the bottle. You can't go around with that liquor in your hand like this, right? It's got to be bottled.
Yeah.
Right, I'm meeting with a guy next week. The guy did the Solo Cup. The guy just bought a house in Miami for $150 million. That's his second house. Jeez. So it's all about, you know, it's all about understanding how do you generate a hustle off of something you're extremely, extremely passionate about.
From the heart.
You know what I mean? And listen, if you love cannabis but you don't want to deal with cannabis, well, there's software to process it. How do you ship it? How do you package it? How do you label it? How do you market it? There's everything in every single industry. There is a lot of money to be made. You know what? I hate when people come on Shark Tank. Let me tell you about this industry. It's a $50 billion industry. Every industry is a $50 billion industry.
Where's your spot in it? I love that. I wanted to ask you. So you guys. The reason why I said you guys, because like one of the laws of power is you have to feel like a movement, right? Karl Kani was one man, right? FUBU was you guys, but the way it was written, it was for us, by us. Yeah. It was us. It was like our movement, how we was thinking, and you know, obviously everyone knows the story of like the Gap having the money to pay for a national commercial you guys don't have, right, at the time. And, you know, LL Cool J is a hip hop artist. He's like, yo, well, they're not gonna ask me about my hat I wear, you know, and he wears a hat and then it explodes. And then you guys...
But he slips in.
He slips in. For us, by us. Exactly. On the low. I love us, man. Don't you? Can we just clap for that, guys? I'm sorry. Yeah. Can I tell you why I love us? Can I tell you why I love us? Because we know what it means. Y'all don't have to know. That's our code that we set to y'all. And what Forest Bias on the low mean anyway? Who cares?
Now, I want people to be very, very clear. First of all, LL is one of the GOATs as far as I'm concerned.
He is the GOAT.
At that time, and you both being in the music industry, this was 97. And when we first had gotten to LL, who lived in my neighborhood in 92, there were very few multi-platinum, world-recognized artists.
Yes.
The Gap calls him up, and they say they want to do this ad, but he felt offended the way they talked to him. They talked to him just exactly why we are entrepreneurs. They talked to him, and he got pissed off because they didn't care about him, the way they talked to him. And when, as an entrepreneur, when you truly care about your customer, they'll do anything for you. But he felt offended.
Yep.
So when he goes and puts Forest Bias on the low in there, first of all, that is written about in almost every marketing book in Harvard and all that stuff, because it was one of the biggest kind of like coups there, because this is why you need to have people in your organization that look and think like the people you serve. And what happened was there was no internet.
Yeah.
This is 97.
Yes.
So I know some people need to go and get some oxygen right now to realize there was no cell phones, there was no internet, there was no Twitter. So nobody can hit the Gap and go, #fail. Do you know that this dude is running a FUBU commercial?
Yes.
This thing airs for 6 weeks.
Yeah.
Now, every one of us have been probably in this room and listening to us have been on the low end of the totem pole working in a company.
All of us.
I've shoveled shit in companies or whatever. And so think about the dude in the mailroom who's like, yo, I ain't gonna tell him nothing. I ain't gonna tell him nothing.
No, hashtag, who gonna tell him? Yeah, hashtag, who gonna tell him?
They like that. 6 weeks later, all the executives from the Gap and all the executives from the marketing agency got fired.
What?
All of them they spent $30 million airing a FUBU ad.
Let's get it for the Gap. I want to clap for the Gap. I want to clap for the Gap. I love that.
Now, I do want to bring up a point, though. The new management came from the Gap. They hired a multicultural agency from the hood. They said, get rid of this, put a spin on this, get it out of here. And you know what the multicultural agency said?
What?
You're not checking your data, homie, because there's a lot of people in the hood talking about going to the Gap, my man. Hold on. And they looked in the database, and you know what happened out of this? The Gap's target market increased 300%. We were doing only $5 million. The kids couldn't find the clothes, so they all went to the Gap because that's where they thought the clothes were. Gap called us up. We gave each other a big old sloppy wet kiss, no tongue, and they ended up spending another $60 million re-airing that ad.
Wow. I want to ask you, when...
I love this shit, man. I just love us, bro. We gonna get there somehow. With that said, we leaving with something.
Oh, we leaving with something.
I don't know what you think. I'm leaving with something. I'm leaving with something.
You know, Deb Antony. I grew up 4 doors away from Deb Antony.
Really? She did the show too. That's crazy.
I heard. I grew up in. I gotta tell a story.
Tell it. We want to hear it.
He always gonna get mad. I remember I'm an only child. I remember I was home one day. I was going out to the garage. I was about 6 or 8. My mother was like, "Why you keep going around?" I was like, "I got a new friend." So, Bimmy was walking down the street, but he was like about 4 years old. So I kept him. I wanted him to be a pet. Yeah. So I kept him in my garage, and I was trying to go out there and sneak some snacks. And he was like, So by the way, Bimmy got about 900 sisters and brothers. Yeah. And they were the ones on the corner where my mother was like, when you go down that block, you cross the street when you go by that house.
Everybody know that family in the hood that run the neighborhood.
No grass on the lawn. Yes. Nothing. My mother was like, you got the boy from the Andes in the garage. Boy, were you? Because I was trying to keep him as a pet. I had him. He was my best friend for about 5 minutes in my house.
Shout out to Bimmy for that, man. I love Bimmy for that, man.
3 to life, baby.
I love Bimmy. But I was speaking like you, LL, obviously lent to the brand and it exploded the brand, but you guys became the face of the brand, which I thought was brilliant, right? Yeah. And what I want to ask for pretty much is, like, what are the advantages in your space? Because I always tell people, I'm like, in today's market, if you're not going to be the brand as an entrepreneur, like, you're just as important as the business. Am I correct?
You are an extension of the brand. Is an extension of you. Everybody has to be able to put themselves in 2 to 5 words themselves. Apple think different. Nike just do it. FUBU for us, buy us. White Castle, what you crave. TNT, we know drama. TBS, very funny. If you can't put yourself in 2 to 5 words, well, then you walk into the room. You leave it up to us to interpret.
I think you kind of said that really quick. Like, that is not probably some of the most important thing anyone has ever said on this couch. Mm-hmm. Can you repeat that? Because that is important.
It's critical for other people to understand that you are personally the brand. Your brand can change. Mine lately have been I'm on a quest because I'm in so many different industries, or early detection, because I believe our community, we don't take care of ourselves. And what are we working for if we don't take care of ourselves? It's my job to educate us about early detection. But, you are a brand. As a young kid, I was for us, by us. I was a community of children and kids of all colors who supported and loved hip-hop, because when hip-hop first came around, I'm dating myself, but that was our version of Twitter and Instagram. We didn't see what was going on in the streets of Atlanta on the 6 o'clock news. Yeah. They didn't show that. Yeah. They didn't show what was happening. So this new emerging art form was these kids who no longer had to play an instrument or harmonize, but they were communicating through this music about their hopes, their dreams, their love, their aspirations, fuck the police, and all this other stuff.
Exactly.
And so when the people were taking our money, the designers, they were taking our money going, we don't like you, right? If I bought a pair of 36 jeans from Ralph Lauren and you looked at me with disgust and said, how dare you have a pair of 36 jeans and I made a pair of 32, well, you don't have empathy for me. Did I buy those jeans baggy because maybe I'm a breakdancer? Did I buy them because I didn't know if I would ever have another $75, so I was going to grow into them? What, did I look in the Salvation Army and got them out of a bucket, but I just wanted to have your name on me? You didn't respect me and value to me. So you didn't value me. So I created For Us, By Us. And that was an extension of my frustration. Now, a lot of people don't realize that my father left when I was 10. I'll never see or speak to him again. But my stepfather actually happened to be of the Jewish faith. And he came into my life, and he taught me two things. Because a lot of people thought that I created food purely for black people. I created it from a African-American made art that was created in the Bronx.
Yeah.
But I would dress the Beastie Boys. I would dress anybody as long as I love hip. As long as you love hip hop.
It's like as long as you could come to the barbecue, you one of us.
That's it.
Yep.
You know, my Jewish stepfather always told me, son, his brother actually was the lead attorney who fought for Mandela's freedom in America. And he told me two things: be pro-black, never anti anything else, and never become the thing you are fighting against. And it created this idea that I wanted to create this culture, but the FUBU was for us, by us. It was always an extension of myself. But every single person listening to me right now, they're a brand.
Yeah.
They're smart, witty, sexy. They're hardworking, family first, God first. They're creating food to bring families together, creating food to empower those who are not. They're doing something. And you have to put yourself in 2 to 5 words.
Yeah.
They say a jury exonerates or convicts you in the first 30 seconds of seeing you. After that, all they want to do is listen to what they already think about you. And the reason why 2 to 5 words now are more important than ever before, because it's your North Star. What are your 2 to 5 words on these digital devices? Every time you post something, every time you tweet, every time you text, every time you're next to somebody. You know, I hire a service that whenever time I interview somebody or, you know, I work with them or whatever the case is, it scrapes your social media for the last 15 years. And I put in keywords that I want to look for, whether negative or positive, to see why I'm going to work with you or not. Most of the people that I don't hire or I don't invest in, they have no idea why I don't do it. It's because I saw something online that I pulled up that didn't match the 2 to 5 words that they think they are.
I ain't gonna lie. I mean, I'm doing this interview for the people at home, but I mean, I'm really learning some shit myself. Like this, like
that's why I'm here. I looked up both of y'all.
I'm like, hold on.
Was there a defining moment when you and your co-founders was like, this is a business, like we're gonna run, like, was there a moment, or just it happened progressively and you looked up and the LL situation happened and it's like, okay, we're here? Or was there a point where you like, this is gonna be something?
You know, that's a great question, because we don't know what we don't know. And it's kind of like, you know, when you're in the movies and you're watching somebody and you know they're walking, they always say the actor in the movie is the last person to know what's gonna happen. You're like, don't walk into that room.
Exactly.
We those same people. We're cranking, yo, what you gonna get? Yo, dog, I'm gonna get a Benz. What you gonna get? I'm gonna get a Sterling. All right, no problem. And we didn't realize the wall we were about to run into. So I started FUBU in '89. I closed it 3 times from '89 to '92.
Really?
Because I ran out of money.
So when you started it, was it you by yourself, or was it you and 3 partners?
Hey, you know what? When I started it, I was selling a couple of shirts just myself. And I remember, and I'm gonna be very, very honest, I remember I came down here to see my aunt, and I rented a brand new Diamante. And I remember driving that Diamante on these winding streets down here, and I remember going to 112 when it was on this corner, and a whole bunch. It was like glass, and I remember going in there and seeing the most beautiful African American people. You know, I would come from New York, and of course, beautiful there too. But there was this beautiful, loving community out here, and I was like, man, I can live like that. I'm gonna open a store in Atlanta.
Yeah.
That was my dream, to open a store in Atlanta.
We still need it, by the way.
And
we still need one.
Yeah. Well, of course, we maybe, you know what, that might be a good idea.
We here to help. That's what we here to do.
And yeah, I love it.
I got my slogan from him already. We empower our creatives and entrepreneurs.
There you go.
I already got my 4 words. We here for you, brother.
There you go. And then I couldn't open the store. I ran out of capital. I ran out of capital again, Then I said, I need partners. And that's when my 3 brothers, Keith, Carl, and Jay, decided, hey, I'm going to come aboard. Jay just came back from fighting Desert Storm, and he came aboard. And then we started in '92. And the story basically goes, you know, we had like 10 shirts we'd put on people and music videos. I grew up next to Hype Williams, too. Like, all of us grew up together.
Queens really gets the money.
You know, it was all of us, right?
Man. Damn.
And...
What's good, everybody? This is Ray Daniels, a.k.a. the Culture Referee. And if you were wondering who this beautiful woman sitting next to me is my sister, Tiffany Daniels Sy. Let's give it up for my sister. Everybody can clap. This is good. And my sister she's the most talented person in the family. And we started a family business a signature scent company. So if you like smoke a lot of weed in your car and you want to get the scent out, you have to check out these scents. I know guys that use it for the weed. I know people that use it for cologne, and everywhere they go to get compliments. We make candles. We make
room sprays. We got them in kits. So if you want to buy something for your loved one or anybody that you care about, hit us up, LorraineCo.com.
And we're going to put the website at the bottom of it. But support this black business, support this black woman, and order, I promise you guys. As a matter of fact, use the word GAUDs, and we'll give you 15% off. I just made that up, so if my sister face looks crazy, don't get mad at her. I'll eat that. But guys, when I tell you this shit is incredible, you really should check this out.
The best scents ever.
LorraineCo.com. And we'll put it at the bottom of the screen. Thank you.
Thanks.
And basically, it started to hit around 96, 97. Now, LL takes off and all that other stuff. And when we realized that we had a business was really technically around 2000.
Yeah.
When we had a massive amount of money.
Yeah.
And we knew that we'd sell the goods and they would go. But every step was always like, oh my God.
Come be honest with you. Well, I didn't know. Like, when you see FUBU come out, I'm a young man, by the way. I have a picture on my wall of me rocking FUBU, and you couldn't tell me I wasn't the shit. My nickname in the airport, when Delta employees call me, they would call me FUBU. Because when you come pick up your check on Friday, I would wear my flyest motherfucking shit. And they would be like, FUBU, FUBU. I swear to God, my life, I'm sure to you.
Thank you, brother.
I'm like, it was like you really, really, like, did a lot for our community. But when I was talking to Carl was like,
Carl and I, or my brother
Carl, your Carl. We interviewed him on the show.
You interviewed Carl?
Yeah. Carl, we interviewed LL Cool J. LL Cool J. Everybody you talked to, well, you just completed the circle.
Oh, wow.
All we need now is hype. Hype, you're on the clock. Exactly. Oh, yeah, Jay. But when we was talking to Carl, me, I don't know nothing. I see 4 black men. I'm like, man, they 4 black men, 4 equal black men. And Carl's like, no, we weren't equal. And I was like, really? He was like, nah. It was Daymond had the biggest share. And I'm like, how did and I remember I didn't want to get into it because obviously but I don't want to ask him this, but I was thinking to myself at the time, why did Daymond get the biggest percentage? And then,
because who pays the most saves the most. My man, what are you talking about? I was risking the house. I was risking all kinds of
That's what he
shit.
said.
Yeah.
You know what he said? He said, you got to understand something. My wife was working at the time, so I can like do certain things and take moments and handle things that we were doing. But Daymond and his mother, they was taking out loans and getting the money to keep it going. And I'm like, oh, so like to me, that says that you at a young man knew it wasn't a hustle. You knew it was a business.
Yeah, but I gotta say something about Carl and Keith and Jay. I met Carl when I was 4 years old.
Wow.
I met Keith and Jay at about 9 or maybe about 12. They respect, and they still respect, and they always respected the formation of the company and who played what role. There's many times in the company that I don't have a say-so against Carl, Keith, and Jay because I respect what what their position is.
Yeah.
And Carl is right, but and that's about everybody here trying to start a business with a family, and stuff like that. We had tiebreaker conversation, and we had who at the end of the day can say it. It ain't because, come on, this is my joint. It's like we wrote out the actual agreement. If you put in this amount. So by the way,
4 brothers, by the way.
4 brothers. And if you see this FUBU, it's all a bunch of 05. The reason why it's 05 is we always had this dream of having 5 members. There's 10 of that 5th member that never stuck by us.
Really?
Those were the 10 guys who never respected the code and respected what we wrote down as, ownership, decision-making power. And Carl, Keith, and Jay, it's been very hard for all of us to always abide by that because, your boys and, you'd be like, yo, man, I said this. He'd be like, and then sometimes just emotion come on and be like, I was there when you shitted on yourself in the 6th grade.
Yeah. Don't act like I wasn't there.
You talking all that good stuff now. Now, you know what I'm saying? You this and that. Like you want to really jab somebody.
Yeah.
But my brothers have always respected our position, and I respect them, and I love them.
And the reason why I brought that up is because I respect that, right? Like, I feel like if one thing that I want Black America to do going into 2025, including my family doing this with me, is we got to sit at the table more. And, you know how they say talk about like life, but we should have to sit at the table more and talk about business.
What's the structure?
And how the world works, right? And because a family is a business, whether they like it or not, and whether you are thinking or not, you're a brand, right? So we are family, we are brand. So we can either be the Wayans and go out here and build something, or we can be this family over here who's like hasn't figured it out. And the reason why I wanted to bring that up is because in my world, my business, there's always the discrepancy about people eating, who did what, who gets what. I did all the work. And to see you guys on the other side of all of the success and see your man say, nah, because he did this, that means there's an understanding. So the question I want to get to is I love us, bro. Man, when I tell you I love us, but I also see our biggest flaws. And it's always the emotions of just not understanding how the world works, right? And what I wanted to ask you is in this world that we're in where, you know, our community is panicking because we have a new president. And I'm saying the way I think is it's not time to panic. It's time to understand what's in it for us. Like, it's time to work. Like, where's the world going, right? Like, stop trying to sit back and talk about what happened 4 years ago. Where's the world going?
You can't change the world. You can change yourself.
Yes, and what I wanted to ask you, what I wanted to bring up is like, I feel like we are lost. I feel like we are emotional. I feel like we're worrying about the wrong shit, and instead of worrying about the most important thing, which is follow the money, because the money gives you the better health options. It gives you the better education options. It gives you better everything, but you have to know where it is. But if it's in a place that you think stinks, I don't give a fuck how it smells. Nigga, I will go in the sewer if I have to make sure my kids get everything they need. So what kind of advice would you give to somebody who's caught up in the emotions of it all? Who's looking at you saying, oh man, of course it was easy for you. You lived next to hype. Hype wasn't hype back then.
No,
it was easy for you. You was living next to. You see what I'm saying?
Artist.
That's my point. Like, people are looking at people and judging them from where they are, not understanding that when they were just a seed, they were the only people down there putting water on themselves. They're the only people down there. Like, even when you was laughing, like, oh nigga, what you gonna do with that seed? I'm gonna see how far it takes me. And you actually did it. And I just wish that you would speak to like that part of our community, like the emotional, the getting out your feelings. And
I think those are powerful points, but I want to be very clear. All communities are like that in regards to 90% of the people just talk, you know, and they're heavily emotion. However, our community, we have the short end of the stick. You can do that if you come from, and you're better off if you come from other communities. When you fall, there's a safety net. We don't have safety nets in our community, so that's why it affects us more, right? But the data and the information is out there. But we have to be able to recognize. I'll give you an example. Like, you know, like I, when it comes to podcast and stuff, I'm very respected and loved. But I'm the only African American on a major network that doesn't come from music, sports, or politics.
Yep.
And I've never been highlighted on any African American publication, ever. Name one. So if we aren't respecting that, and if we only are doing that about music and sports, well then, what are our kids going to grow up to be if they don't have that talent?
Yeah.
Like, right?
Yeah.
Because there's a million other smarter African American men and women than me. Million. You know what I mean?
You know, I want to tell you
Why aren't we highlighting that?
I want to tell you this. I don't know if it's serendipity. Like, we just lined up how we think. I'm actually grateful for it, because my goal is to eventually get out of music long term and go into entrepreneurship, media, stuff like that. But I just love how you said it, because my whole thought process was, I got out of high school. I wasn't a great student. I could read, but I got bored reading after the fourth line. I just was bored, right? And, you know, but they always poured into the athletes. Like, Deion Sanders is coming to the school today to talk to the kids, and he only talking to all the athletes. Or Dallas Austin is coming, but he's only talking to the music kids or the really smart kids. And I'm like, well, what about us? And then that's when the answer to that question is, you guys are the workers. The janitors, the workers, the people that you look at them when you were a kid and be like, how'd you get that job? I know you didn't want that job.
Yeah.
We're those people.
Yeah.
That's when it woke me up. I quit. I was working regular job. I was like, nope, I quit. I'm like, I got to go figure this shit out. And it was like the most important thing to me, because I realized I wasn't an athlete, I wasn't a musician, and I wasn't an entertainer. So it's like, I really wrote, I was like, I want my book to be called The Greatest Average Man to Ever Live. Because I'm not the tallest, I'm not the most handsome. My best friend Crystal reminds me that I can't be considered fine because I'm not over 6 feet tall. Like, that's my best friend.
I'm fine.
I think I'm fine, but she's like, you ain't 6 feet, you're 5'9". So
I'm 7'5".
That's why I got these goddamn boots on. I know I'm going to see it today. I gave myself some inches.
Man, I'm fine.
Fuck you, Aaron. This is Daymond John here. We're not interviewing Walker today, bro. Like, shut up, bro. Don't embarrass us, man. But my point is, man, I don't even know how exactly fucked me up, but I just wanted to give you the props for what you built, brother, because it's hard out here.
Yeah.
And and the hardest part is it's lonely.
It is lonely.
They're gonna laugh at you. They're gonna talk behind your back.
100%.
Meanwhile, you selling your T-shirt, and the other kid your age is making $50,000 with the Supreme team. They looking at you like a little ass T-shirt, nigga. Yeah. They don't understand that. We from the hood, so I do. But you gotta stay in it. Smile. Keep the energy. Don't quit. What was your purpose for going into Shark Tank? Was it to be that? Was it to break that?
No, and I want to touch a little bit, and I want to qualify the statement I made about me not being on these publications, and I don't mind.
Me neither. We fighting.
I'm fortunate enough that Shark Tank runs 40 times a week on CNBC, so I'm the Kardashians of CNBC, so I don't need that. But what I do say, because I know a lot of really respectable music people and artists listen to this. You know what you can do? If you're an artist and they need you to be on the cover of these publications, say, hey, but I want to write up on my attorneys, or I want to write up on my these businesses, these black-owned businesses behind me. Give me the front cover and give in the inside cover, or I'm not going to do it. I'm Beyonce. You want me on Essence of Ebony? I want you to show my winning team behind you.
For sure.
Behind me. And if you're an athlete,
more of that.
Do that, right? Because what are they going to say? No. Then they're going to go and get money by the banks and all these other people to say, yeah, we support, this. So there's ways to pull us up the ladder without having to force us up the ladder and highlight ourselves. Shark Tank is very funny. They called me because I was doing, all these shows and trying to put out, I think one of the books may not have been The Power of Broke, and they realized I understand the pitch. So when they called me, they were like, yo, we're doing the show. It's already #1 in Japan, London, and Canada. It's called Dragon's Den over there, but we're going to call it Shark Tank. And I said, you know what? It's 07, 08. Nobody's buying another shirt when they can't pay their mortgage. I need to diversify my portfolio. I'm going to go on the show. They said, you can't do any other show but ours. I said, all right, but I got three friends of mine that I'm mentoring. They're going to open a store in California. I'm going to be in the cable show. 3 minutes, 3 separate times, 9 minutes total. They say, you can't do any other show but ours. I said, all right, well, only way I've gotten here in my life is being a man of my word. I have to pass. Goodbye. Click. I hang up. I get a call from my book agent, not even my agent. I heard you gave up an ABC show by Mark Burnett with 3 girls that nobody will ever hear of called the Kardashians or something like that. You could be on ABC. You could be the new Black Fonzie. No, I'm going to pass. I get a call 2 days later, the producer of the Kardashians. Daymond, you don't hit our target market anymore. We don't want you on the show. You're fired. I get a call 1 hour after that, Mark Burnett. So I heard you're available. I was co-managing the girls and doing product placement on their show. If you ever look at the Kardashians' first season, they're wearing all my brands, FUBU and Coogee. Chloe found out that I was going to turn down the show because I was co-managing the girls, and she fired me. She said the world needed to know who I was, and she would never get in my way. So, hence, here I am.
That's God.
Yeah.
But that's God. To me, I look at it like, what are you telling the world? Like, I tell it to everybody in my life. I'm like, every move you make, what are you telling the world? And to me, that was you telling the world, my word matters to me more than anything else.
Yeah.
Because if my word can be bought, I don't have a word anymore. I'm for sale. So I love that. So I got a couple more questions for you, brother. So you are FUBU to Shark Tank, but you still keep hip hop around you. Like Mr. Wonderful is sitting next to a dude that's like, oh, Hype Williams is my man. Like, it's like you brought hip hop to it. How were you able to ride that fine line of like, white America obviously loves you, but black America still sees you and like, that's my motherfucking man right there.
I am who I am. But hip hop is the most powerful, form of communication, I think, around the world.
Yeah.
hip hop and country will always be the voices that have not. So if you meet I don't care
I like
who
that.
you
Never
are.
heard that
I don't care
before.
who you. I was in a room. I do a lot of public speaking. I was in a room last month, and I was speaking for the cattle feeders of America. Now, this room had the room was a sea full. It was 1,000 people with 10-gallon hats on. I'm telling them my story, and the first day like, time that speech is over, that soul brother sure knows what he been through.
Because
they been through the same shit that I've been. You know, like we all have the same thing, and I always say country music and hip hop is the same. Country music is my dog died. Hip hop music is where my dog's at, right? So it's the same shit. And
you got some fucking quotes for me.
No, but
I'm in music and I ain't got them damn quotes.
I hang out with a lot of rappers.
Exactly.
So when I bring that, I'm bringing something authentic, and it's just me.
Yeah.
But I also have, I think, another responsibility on the show, as I think that the good memories of what Mr. Cosby did for us is when he opened up this his living room to an African American family who it could be a father who was a doctor and a wife that was an attorney. None of the kids were pookie. None of the kids were in gang violence. They had the same qualities that every single American wants to strive for. They were just a family that opened up the door and they sang, they danced, they had the quirky moments. I think that when you see me on the show, my obligation to our community is to be a voice of a human being and a man. That no matter what color or creed you come from, you can relate to who I am, and you throw all the race, the gender, and out of the room. And I think that is my job, and I have a bigger responsibility to us as a community to keep that. That standard that I live by.
By the way, we appreciate that.
You know what
That's
I mean?
what I'm asking. We appreciate that. What's the perfect pitch?
The perfect pitch is somebody. The perfect pitch is an infomercial. The perfect pitch is somebody who identifies.
Does it consist of something like?
They tell you that there's a problem. You knew it existed or you didn't know it existed, and they have this thing in me, because if you're starting a business or even you run a business, you always have to check yourself and ask yourself these 3 questions: why me, why now, and why this? Right?
Why me,
if you
why
can't,
now,
if you don't have those answers, then you're not in business. And what a perfect pitch is, how an entrepreneur or somebody tells you the train's leaving the station with or without you. They want you on the train, but this train's leaving the station. So when you think about an infomercial, hey, I'm so forth and so on. And were you ever doing this and you said to yourself, there's got to be a better way? So you're showing that there is an action or something that exists that's been going on forever, but there's got to be a better way. Now they qualify themselves. Well, I've been doing this for 10 years and I have had the same frustration with you, but now I came up with a better way. Now you qualify why this is the person to do it. Then all of a sudden and if you want this better way, you already know they have a buying habit. The buying habit's here. How are they going to break their buying habit? I'm going to give you 2 better ways for the price of 1. All right, now I'm going to check into you. Let me check it out. But if you don't like it, I'm going to send you it back or money back. But you got to call by tonight. Now you give them a time of the essence. Now that 1-800 number ain't changed that night.
It's going to be there. It's going to be there tomorrow too.
And that's what that's what a pitch is, by telling somebody this amazing story and qualifying why you're the one to do it and telling them, but you got to pull that trigger right now, homie.
And one thing I want to say, I think I tell this to everyone, if you're black, there's room at the table for you.
100%.
And a lot of times we'd be like, I don't have a place at that table. Let me tell you something. If their marketing, if their customer looks like you, which we are the customer for all of them, you have a position at that table.
We are called, it's unfortunate in the advertising world, we're called shoes.
Yes.
You know that, right?
No, I never heard it before.
Super heavy users, because every $16 we bring in, 15 goes back out. So we're called shoes, and it's unfortunate, but we're heavy users. But all the way up into, I've been doing this for now, when I think about it, I've been doing this, I think, 35 years. But a lot of times I've had partners around the table of all colors and creeds of things. And when they didn't get what I was saying or understand or respect, that would never work. Again, like you said, I can get mad, y'all don't respect me. I go, if they knew what I was talking about, I wouldn't be here. There would be no room for me right here if they knew what I was talking about.
Exactly.
And so there's a massive amount of room for us. Massive. It's massive, because you showing the dollars are there, and that's why we're doing obviously Black Entrepreneurs Day, to show people how to put that back in. But listen, I don't think that a bunch of white males can make hair products for a bunch of African American women.
Hell no.
I don't think that's the best idea. I don't think a bunch of black males can make the best product for African American women. So there should be more who are controlling that market.
Yep.
So from the manufacturing side.
Yep.
So again, there's a massive amount of room for us.
Can
So
I speak?
look, we got a couple minutes.
okay.
So I want to do credit check
Oh.
because we got to get out.
Go ahead.
I want to hear.
Go ahead. Listen, he said it. I can't say it.
I've been rambling. And
I'm getting text and shit. I'm just making sure I'm on time. Let's go.
No, I just
go
wanted
ahead,
to
Sandra.
speak to the resilience of your career, and you about over a 7-year period, your business failed 3 times, and you kept going. What would you tell young entrepreneurs? Because you mentioned you have to have grit, you have to have, this. You preach about self-reliance and resilience. What do you teach them to keep going? Because most entrepreneurs' businesses fail in the first year of it, if it starts.
That's a great question.
So what would you tell them to keep? What keeps you going?
I think it goes back to our power of broke, because money most of the time highlights your weaknesses. It doesn't it doesn't give you strength, right? Because if you have a weak advertising campaign, buying more of that campaign is not going to highlight the conversion.
Hurt your company. Yep.
If your product costs $10 to make, but you want to pay, you watch too much Shark Tank and you think you're supposed to make your margins, so you buy 10,000 units so you can get it at $4.
Yeah.
If the product's not good, now you got a whole bunch of crappy product coming back to your warehouse.
Yes.
So the number one reason why small businesses fail is usually overfunding. They take out a $50,000 loan because
That's
they
so
open a
real.
store instead of having a kiosk at the mall for one weekend, right? They build a $20,000 website instead of having just putting some more money behind their Facebook page. And they make mistakes on a bigger level. So entrepreneurs really fail because they thought that they were supposed to have money. But if you have money and you think that money's going to cure it all in business, well, then go and call Blockbuster,
just throw money at
BlackBerry, call Fridays and Red Lobster. They ain't in business, right?
Circuit City, all of those.
Why?
Yeah.
Money didn't solve that. It was the ability to be of value to the customer. And so that's what happened. I made small mistakes. That's why I came back. I ran out of $500 at close hoop. I was like, oh, well, it's over. We're done here. Give me that McDonald's application. And then I'd be like, oh, I got $1,000.
Yeah.
Got $1,000. Like, oh, that's it.
Yep.
New store called Quiznos is around here. Give me an application. But I ran out of a little bit of money. You know what I mean?
So we have this thing we call credit check. Because on this show, I hate when people say, give him his flowers, give her flowers. Give them their credit. I could leverage that. All I could do is appreciate flowers. So we give people like yourself an opportunity to shout out 2 to 3 unsung heroes in the Daymond John story that you just that helped you along the way. This is great for them.
Well, first, 2 to 3. All right, definitely my partners. But Ralph McDaniels from New York City,
really?
Music Box. I don't care who you are as an artist today. You benefited off of this small little show that Ralph had that every artist died to get on. And
Crazy.
He's a community maverick. Another guy named Charles Fisher as well. Of course, my mother. I tell you, my partners, it's so many. Carl Kanai, who when I had $27, I was standing outside the Magic Trade Show, a big trade show in Las Vegas, and he said, hey, I know you. You did a little ad, right? And I said, yeah. And he said, come into my booth, and I'm going to introduce you to every single buyer you need to know. And I was his only competition at the time.
That's amazing, man.
And so a lot of people don't realize we all help. There's so many brothers that helped me.
Yeah.
I didn't know him when I first got a letter. It came in the mail. He already had 40 acres and a mule, and Spike Lee sent me a letter that said, I see you, young brother. And I didn't know him. This is God to me.
Yeah.
I was like, he just reached out to me to say, I see you.
That power meant a lot,
You know
right?
what I mean? It's people like Jeff and Shaka out here who's helped me with so much. Or Kenny Burns and all these other brothers and sisters out here. So absolutely, I love that. I would be here for an hour.
I love that because I always say if you don't have gratitude, you don't have the right attitude.
That's true.
Because if you ain't grateful for what you have, you ain't going to attract more. You're going to actually run things away that's going to hurt you because you're not grateful for the shit you have. You're not going to attract more. Last question. This is called the GAUDs Show. GAUDs is an acronym for goats and underdogs. Do you consider yourself a goat? And if you don't consider yourself a goat, what do you personally want to accomplish for you to consider yourself a goat? If you think you're an underdog,
I'm not a goat. You never arrive. if I felt that I've arrived, then that means I don't have gratitude. Right? I think so. What I would like to accomplish, if anything, is to break the lack of financial intelligence in our school systems for our children of all colors, because we don't teach our children financial intelligence. We're going over. There's no conspiracy. We're going off an 80-year-old school system that was built to show you how to build ships, go to war, and be a great employee. But if our children now are not taught financial intelligence in school, but at 17 years old, they can go and get marketed by predatory banks to have a $700,000 school debt of a career they don't know they even want to have, that they won't pay off until their 50s. Well, we're creating a bigger challenge for our children. And the data and stats show that 50% of the kids graduating college today will retire with a job title that doesn't actually exist today. That's like telling somebody 20 years ago you're going to be an AI operator, a pay-per-click manager, or a social media expert. So we are setting our children up to fail if we don't give them that tool.
100%.
So when I'm gone, I wrote a book, Little Daymond Learns to Earn, became a New York Times bestseller. It's not about my book. I want the smarter people than me, the bigger celebrities, to now see that this is needed, and to create more educational curriculum, because now I've broken that wall down and say people want this stuff. And I think that when I'm going, I want my daughters to say, Daddy did a three-peat. He educated people on FUBU, how they can own their own and serve their own community, whatever community that is. Then he went on to Shark Tank and showed the American dream is alive as well. When you stand on that carpet, it doesn't give a shit about your race, your gender, your color, your creed. And then he broke the the lack of financial intelligence in this country for all of us. And hopefully, when I'm in the dirt, they can stand proud and say, my dad did those three things.
Well, I want to tell you this. There's a picture in my office right now of me wearing. This is my first day ever meeting you, and there's a picture in my office of me wearing something you made.
Really? I gotta go check it out.
That's GOAT status to us.
I love it.
I just want to tell you, let's clap for this GOAT.
Oh, thank you.
And by the way, not only do you have something that I wear, I have in my office right now. My mother is watching your show every night.
I love moms.
And not only that, on November 22nd, you have Terrence J, Kelly Rowland, 2 Chainz, all these people coming, Flavor Flav, all coming to teach our people how to get better and financial literacy. And to me, that's the most important thing holding us back. So, and the most important thing, the reason why I did this show, the mind fuck of my show was, because I know a lot of rich people, obviously that's how I was able to become a millionaire myself, was that they all think alike. They all have the underdog mentality. They all feel like it's me against the world, right? And I want them to know that you get the GOAT status by humbling yourself, understanding what you're up against, having an underdog mentality, and that's how you get the GOAT status. And the only reason why you didn't give yourself that is because you're still in the fight.
I'm still in the fight.
If you weren't in a fight, you would have said, I'm a GOAT. We had a GOAT jacket for you. Like, we had that.
But listen, I got to tell you, man, it has come full circle. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being here.
It is amazing being here. And on the 22nd live, I'm going to be able to fulfill that dream of when I was in that little Diamante. And I'm going to bring my entire Black Entrepreneurs Day here live to the Fox Theater.
And if you want to go, all you have to do is go to the website, Black Entrepreneurs Day, type in GAUDs, and you get in for free. But you don't get it for free. People always say game is free. Game is the information is free, but the work is what costs you.
So when you're in, you know who's going to be in that crowd? It's going to be other entrepreneurs.
Just like you.
Maybe your next investor, maybe your next partner, you're the next person to code your website, and we'll hit the mark of giving away over $1 million. We funded, we've given grants to 40 African American companies over the last 5 years, and there's going to be mega stars on that stage. 2 Chainz is going to perform, and this is going to be live from the Fox Theater in Atlanta on the 22nd.
I want to come, Crystal. Can I come? I'm coming.
You coming?
Sanders, we're going to show up.
You're coming.
Perfect.
You're there.
Well,
you're there.
This is the GAUDs Show. Shout out to everybody that watch. And man, Black Entrepreneurs Day. And anytime you see Daymond John, just know you are seeing a superhero in real life. He's a GOAT in real life. And let's clap for this brother.
Thank you. Thank you all.
And it's the GAUDs Show. We are out. Thanks, man.
Appreciate it. Thank you.